All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we're going to talk about Tyreek Hill, him embracing accountability. Again, also, like I said, kind of was praising his coach over something that happened in the Chiefs playoff game. So basically, Tyreek Hill appreciates his head coach, Mike McDaniel's accountability, citing a moment where McDaniel called him out after a play against the Kansas City Chiefs. So I do have the quotes from the article. So it was a play against L'Jarius Sneed on the Chiefs, who's now a member of the Tennessee Titans. The Chiefs, everybody see the play against the Chiefs when he slammed Tyreek Hill on the floor. Now, he recalled this moment. This was on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. Like I said, everybody's making appearances on podcasts lately. But yeah, he said, he called me out, meaning Mike McDaniel called him out. He called me out. He's like, Reek, you're supposed to be the best player in the league, and you got this guy putting hands all over you like that. We pay you all this money for what? And Tyreek said, and for me, I love stuff like that. Again, trying to blank out the bad words in this quote, but because I'm going to take that to heart and I'm going to get better from it. That will never happen to me again in my life, man. If a blank not holding me accountable, I feel like I'm not going to be able to get better. Obviously, the coaches can bypass that and just be like, he'll get better from it, but if he's not saying nothing, the other guys in the locker room are going to look at it as, oh, if Reed can do it, I can do it. And that's not getting the team better. I need everybody to get better. Jalen Waddle, I got him under my wing trying to teach him. I want everybody to get paid. Everybody deserves it. And to be honest, I actually like what he said because a lot of receivers in the NFL would probably take it the wrong way. Definitely would take it the wrong way. I mean, no offense, but some of the receivers are kind of are divas in the NFL, and you can't really discipline players like you could in the past because now with the contracts and all that, it just they baby the players, and that goes for a lot of sports, not just football. So to be honest, it's kind of refreshing when you hear Tyreek Hill, a player that is making a lot of money and is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, if not the best wide receiver in the NFL, because I know that was a conversation we had in our production meeting one week, was who's the best wide receiver in the NFL? And a couple of people said Tyreek Hill. Now, I said Justin Jefferson, but I did say if Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers were still playing together, I would say Devontae Adams. But a couple of people did say Tyreek Hill, and rightfully so. He is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And was trying to help me win my, fantasy championship, and unfortunately he got hurt, and that kind of derailed my whole season, and I ended up being one and done in the playoffs. But that's besides the point. I have mentioned that many times before, and I'll continue to mention that because I am still very bitter over that loss. And okay, so back to what I was saying. Tyreek Hill is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and again, like I said, kind of refreshing when you hear a player say that he wants someone that will hold you accountable. And Mike McDaniel seems to be one of those coaches that does that. And you look at Andy Reid. Andy Reid has to put some of his players in their place, like Travis Kelce. I mean, I think it was the game on Christmas where Kelce threw his helmet and it went flying, and then somebody picked it up and was going to give it back to him. And Andy Reid's like, not so fast. Do not do that. He's not coming out for this play. Then you had Kelce body checking him in the Super Bowl. That was crazy. But Andy Reid's another coach that I could think of that also holds you accountable. I mean, and I think of Brian Dable screaming at Daniel Jones on the sidelines, after a bad play. But again, with Mike McDaniel, yeah, I mean, Tyreek Hill's a star player. And, bringing his contract into it, yeah, I mean, you're getting paid all this money. You can't have a player doing that to you. Now, again, could Tyreek Hill be lying about what exactly was said? It's possible. That's another thing, too. But either way, I mean, I think I think he is there's some truth there where you're embracing that criticism and you're being held accountable. And I think that only makes you better. Like if someone holds you accountable and wants, they're only doing what's best for you. Well, again, words, you also got to like watch what you say too. I mean, I don't think McDaniel really said anything wrong. He was praising him, but also like saying, you're really talented. Like you can't have this happen. Now again, that was a tough game to for all the Dolphins players because the weather conditions and against the Chiefs. Yeah, it was a tough game. But yeah, with Mike McDaniel, like him saying that he wants Tyreek Hill to do well, and it shouldn't be taken personal. And Tyreek Hill didn't take it personal because he knows that his coach wants him to do well ultimately, and that's why he said what he said. He's not bashing him because he thinks Tyreek Hill is an inferior player, but he's trying to motivate his players. That's what he's doing, and that's what you want. You want to have a coach that does that. Again, at the same time, also be careful with what you say. But it's nice. It's refreshing when you have a player say, "Listen, I want to have that. I want to have a coach that, holds me accountable." And again, also against the Chiefs. And again, I think Tyreek Hill still, faces that question of, do you miss playing for the Chiefs? And I think he says, I think a part of him still does. Because, you go from Patrick Mahomes to Tua Tagovailoa, and big drop-off. No offense to Tua, but it's a drop-off. And the Chiefs, since Tyreek Hill left, I don't even think Tyreek Hill definitely didn't expect the Chiefs to do what they've done and win, back-to-back Super Bowls without him. He definitely didn't expect that, but that's what happened. And to be honest, when it comes to the Dolphins and Tua, I don't really expect them to get to that point because unfortunately for them, Tua's going to hold them back, and they could be giving Tua a big contract, and kind of would be a mistake because I don't think he's a guy that's going to get you to that point. Now again, put up solid numbers last year, and with Tyreek Hill, yeah, it's fun to watch that offense. You see the start that they got off to. You thought, wow, this team is going to be with Tua healthy. This team could be a team that goes all the way, but that was not the case. And again, it was a bad matchup in every aspect going up against the Chiefs in the first round. Especially with the weather conditions. They had no chance. They had no chance. And now going into 2024, I think it's a big year for them. The division's a little weaker with the Bills, and some of their subtractions, but, they're still going to be fighting for the division. You also got the Jets, who are going to have something to say and trying to redeem themselves and hoping for a healthy season with Aaron Rodgers. So it's a 3-team race there. And then you got the Patriots, who are, in fourth place. That's what's going to end up happening. So it's a big year for the Dolphins. And, Tyreek Hill, don't know how much longer he's going to be playing because I know we already were hearing about retirement. Right now he's at the top of his game. But he could be retiring at some point very soon. So Dolphins got to do what they can with their team and try to get there, which For me, I don't think that's going to happen. But you never know. And when it comes to him missing the Chiefs, I mean, yeah, I think, like I said, he probably does, but he's not going to admit it. But he wanted to get paid. That's why he went to Miami. He actually was. The Jets were a team that was in on him too. But ultimately, the Dolphins were able to get him. So, yeah, I mean, how different things would have been if he went to the Jets. Um, but yeah, and the Chiefs they haven't skipped a beat since he left. Again, they've had some struggles. Last year particularly, they had struggles. But I felt like they struggled. I mean, like the first year without him, they were able to adapt and they were fine. And Mahomes won the MVP. But it's just then in 2023 they struggled a lot. But again, they ended up winning back-to-back Super Bowls. So it doesn't matter. But I don't think people should be saying that the Chiefs miss Tyreek Hill because they've won without him. So, but yeah, Tyreek Hill. I mean, he embraces that accountability from his head coach, and I think Mike McDaniel is a good coach. But now you're going into your third season. Let's win a playoff game. I think you have to do that. So, we'll see what ends up happening. But I expect the Dolphins to be in the mix, of course, and be a playoff team. But I mean, could they win a playoff game? Yeah, but I don't really expect anything more than that. Because again, I just feel like with the quarterback that they have, I feel like that's ultimately what's going to hold them back. So. But, yeah, let me know what you guys think about what Tyreek Hill had to say. What are your expectations for the Dolphins going into 2024? And, yeah, so that is pretty much it for the show for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to tune into the other shows. Had some crazy NBA playoff games last night. The Knicks and the Sixers was going crazy over that, rooting for the Knicks. And then, of course, I did stay up. I wasn't watching it very closely, but I had the Lakers Nuggets game on in the background. I did, pay close attention to it towards the end when the Nuggets came back, and then Jamal Murray hit the game winner, and Kevin Harlan is one of my favorite broadcasters. Like his call for that, and Mike Breen. Well, I listened to Mike Breen's call for the Knicks game. I didn't on MSG. I didn't listen to the TNT broadcast of it. I did, but of course, had to watch TNT for the Lakers game. But Kevin Harlan, like I said, one of my favorite broadcasters. I mean, both calls for the game winners. I mean, there was still some time on the clock with the Knicks game, but still, like Mike Breen's call for the DiVincenzo go-ahead three, and then Kevin Harlan's call on the game winner for the Nuggets, Jamal Murray's shot. I mean, those were great calls. And like I said, Kevin Harlan is one of my favorite broadcasters. Mike Breen's up there too. I mean, Mike Breen's one of the best broadcasters currently as well. I don't know. I've always been more of a Kevin Harlan guy, also because he does football too. But yeah, those were great calls. And make sure, but basically, from what I'm saying is, make sure to tune into the basketball podcast today to get Nelson's takes on the games from yesterday. And yeah, make sure to tune into the other shows as well. Get their takes on everything that's happening in the world of sports. And yeah, so with that, that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow. Same time, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And until then, I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder, signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.